According to the dailymail.uk, the average person spends about 8 minutes and 46 seconds of their day complaining. That's 53 hours a year, and that's 4,000 hours of our lives. That's right about 6 months spent complaining. But that isn't the part that fascinates me the most. I mean, 6 months is just a small period of our lives. What intrigues me the most is the things that people complain about. Like, for instance, you have people saying like, oh, Jonathan was so annoying at work, or Stephanie, so what she said something bad to me, or things like that, right? And sometimes in life, we need to maintain a positive outlook. And by doing that, we need to have perspective and gratitude. And I accredit 100% of my happiness to perspective and gratitude. Now, a lot of you are wondering what's wrong with complaining. Now, just to be clear, complaining is when we talk negatively about something or someone instead of accepting the situation or taking responsibility to make things better. For example, it's saying like, my job is so crappy, or I hate the food today, and not doing anything to make things better. Now, research has shown that when we complain or just hear other people complain, we tend to get demoralized and we start having negative thoughts. Because when we hear other people complain, we get badly influenced. Imagine this, like after watching a sad movie or listening to a sad song, our mood tends to change corresponding to that stimulus. So what that means is that after we watch a happy movie, we feel happy after, and after we watch a sad movie, we feel sad after. Same for complaining. When we hear people talk bad about something, a certain situation, we tend to feel bad as well. And because humans are inherently social, we tend to naturally and unconsciously mimic the moods of those around us, particularly the people we spend a great deal of time with. This process is called neuronal mirroring and is the basis of our ability to feel empathy. On the flip side, however, it makes complaining a lot like smoking. You don't have to be doing it for you to suffer the ill effects. And so just be aware of the people you're spending a great deal of time with and make sure that they're not complaining extensively. And according to 30 years of longitudinal research conducted by Duke University and the Mayo Clinic, when you stop complaining, it'll literally add years to your life. Now, what experiences do I have complaining? In Singapore, there's this examination called PSLE. Some of you may know it, some of you may not. It's all 12-year-olds must take this examination. And for you to understand how big this examination is, you must understand what's inside. So PSLE stands for Primary School Leaving Examination. And it consists of 4 subjects. Your first language, for me that's English. Your second language, for me that's Chinese, and mathematics and science. And for like the language department, you have things like oral examination, listening, comprehension, composition writing, like 2 to 3 main papers. And then for mathematics and science, you have like 2 to 3 main papers each. Basically, long story short, it's about 10 examination papers in just a span of a week. So naturally, a lot of 12-year-olds will be pretty stressed out, and it's pretty nerve-wracking. In addition, parents do instill the fact that this examination will determine a lot of things in life, like the next school you go to, the university you go to, and heck, even the job you get. And I'm not denying that fact. But as stressful as PSLE can be, it did teach me a couple life lessons, and one of them is complaining. And because of how competitive PSLE was, because everyone's competing against a bell curve. Basically, in other words, that means everyone's competing against each other. And because of that, I tend to complain and dwell on a lot of things. Like I'll say like, oh, like, I don't know, like George got full marks for the test, or Aiden got 1 mark higher than me. And by doing that, it not only wastes your time and energy, but it just demoralizes you as well. And this time and energy could be channeled into hard work, which then would help you reach your goals twice as fast. So stop complaining and put in the work. And next time, be the one that gets full marks for the test. Be the one that people complain about. Be the one that people look up to and say, like, I want to be as successful, as rich, and as smart as that person. Be that person. Now, why do people complain? People complain because it's an excuse not to put in the work. And also, people dwell on a lot of things that tend to dwell on things they don't have rather than things they do have. And it's not like a naive thing. If you think about it, it's human nature. As humans, we always want more. We always want the best. And this vicious cycle we always get caught up in, especially these millennials. They want the new fashion clothes. They want like the fastest car or things like that. And we tend to get caught up in this vicious cycle. And basically, this just drains time and energy away from us, and it's a blindness, and hence we just lack gratitude. There's a famous Chinese quote that is, there's always a mountain taller than the other, and it's metaphorically speaking, not literally speaking. And it means that when we think that we found the fastest car or like the best thing, there'll always be something better. This relates to the vicious cycle that will never end, and we just always lack gratitude, and that's detrimental to our happiness. One of my biggest inspirations, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's entrepreneur, great speaker. He said this: it's fascinating that things like going out, cars, watches, clothes, partying with friends are holding people back for a substantially better life. And basically, what that means is that all these leisure things are holding people back from success, from a life where they can have all those things and more. And okay, first of all, raise of hands, who here has a goal? Long-term, short-term, doesn't matter. Who here has a goal in life? Okay, good. Now, I want you guys to know that the path to success and to your goal is long. It's an upward climb, and the terrain is rugged. And I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of that. But along that path, a lot of things will slow us down. And like the quote, leisure, going out with friends, clothing, things like that will hold us back from that goal. And when we reach that goal, then we can actually celebrate. So essentially it's saying, work hard now and then you can play later. Now, but how do you stop complaining? First of all, in anything you want to get good at, you need to be consistent. Like picking up a new sport or learning a new language, you need to be consistent. And for complaining, you need to understand that life will be frustrating. And nothing in life will go the exact way you want it to. And that's just a sad truth. So you can't go like, oh, I wish this was like this. I wish this hadn't happened to me. And I wish this wasn't like that. Because time doesn't wait for you. And it doesn't care whether you're happy or whether you're sad. It keeps on ticking. So my advice is smile and stop complaining and just put in the work. Secondly, you must have perspective. Let me put things into perspective. When you're complaining about the food in your pantry, there's someone begging for breadcrumbs. While you're complaining about your electrical bills, there's someone with no roof over their head. And while you're complaining about your job, there's someone praying for $1. And this leads to my third point, which is gratitude. You must be grateful for what you have instead of dwelling on things that you don't. And another very big inspiration in my life is my grandfather. He grew up in a very poor family. To understand how poor he actually was, his parents, you must understand how much his parents earned. His mother earned $2.70 every single day. Now, I know due to inflation, $2.70 is more valuable back then than it is now. But based on our calculations, it's about $15 today, or $14.73 to be exact. And $2.70 back then isn't that much for a family with about 8 kids. So, and yet he didn't complain about much. He didn't complain about his financial status, his clothing, his food, his friends, nothing for that matter. Instead, being the eldest of the family, he had to work very hard and give tuition to kids at a very young age. And because of that, and it's very inspiring because he didn't complain about anything, and yet there's people complaining about on a daily basis about very foolish or futile things and unnecessary things. My grandfather had to walk to the library to get books, go to the store to buy textbooks. All we have to do now is go on Amazon, go internet, and we can buy the book. We need to start deploying gratitude and start understanding that we are extremely lucky. Now, just know that the grass is greener on the other side, but complaining and whining about it won't make the grass on your side any more greener. In essence, first of all, change your attitude towards life. Secondly, start deploying perspective. And thirdly, start deploying gratitude as well. Lastly, I always notice that people dwell on very unnecessary things. At the end of the day, that doesn't really matter at all. Because when you're on your deathbed and you and you're at your dying breath and you have a flashback, you tell me what comes to mind. And I'm sure it's not the 6 months you spent complaining. So you tell me, why spend 6 months complaining? The scalability in which we could achieve if we could just stop complaining. We have one shot at this. We have one at-bat, one life to live. And if I could save just a little bit of time for you complaining, or even 6 months, then this speech wasn't done in vain. When you leave this room, you can do two things. Number one, you could understand your positives, have perspective and gratitude, and be a winner and be successful in life. Or number two, you can dwell on your negatives, keep complaining, and be a loser and never be successful. That's just the truth. Thank you, everyone.